All right, so welcome to Iowa Genealogical Society's Family Tree Maker Special Interest Group. So one of the things I want to show, I'm going to do a share my screen here, is because we're going to talk about the new version. Oh, there we go. All right. So what I got here is a little screen snip from the Family Tree Maker users group. Nancy put this survey out this morning, and so you can see 66% of those that answered are using the new version, 2024. 26% are using the old. 4% are using both. I thought that was interesting. And I was pleasantly surprised to see we've got some that are still using 2017 and some earlier versions than that. And I know that's true for our group as well, that we've got some that are using some of the older versions. So I thought that was just kind of a fun little survey that she's doing. If you want to participate, you can jump on the Facebook group and go over and put your mark in. So one of the things I did want to just briefly share is that the new version is out. In the handout, I've given you some links to support on how to do the installation, the summary of what's new in the new version. If you had already purchased the upgrade, but you haven't received any information, there's a how to pick up your copy link there on the steps to do that. So I think they've been trying not to advertise a lot of new people. They want to get the existing customers taken care of and upgraded. That's why if you go to the Family Tree Maker website, you will still see 2019 as the main page. And if you click on Buy Now, that's when you'll see the 2024. So they are selling the new one, not just the old one. But I think they're just trying to make sure that everybody gets on. I haven't, as I told you guys, I haven't installed it yet, just because I want to go through and deliberately get all of my trees backed up before I make that transition over. That, and I've got to clear some space off my hard drive, so I'm not saying that so my hubby doesn't yell at me. So yeah, you know how that goes. So there's that as well. So I'm planning to get that all done here in the next week or so, and then we can talk through what's new in the new version in July. We've had an offer from a representative from Family Tree Maker to come and do a presentation for us. We had kind of said we wanted that to happen after the new version was out. He can't do Sunday, so we need to probably pick a Saturday that we can work that out. Are you guys amicable to me reaching out to him and seeing if he's available sometime in July or August or September? I mean, see when we can get him and have him do a demo and answer our questions.
I would vote fall or, after August
After August,
just
okay.
because of summer and craziness, but
No, that's why I was asking. So I'll see what I can coordinate.
Do you think he'd let us record it so that we could at least, if we couldn't make that Saturday, we could at least view it for like 2 or 3 weeks?
I think he will, because I know that he did a presentation for California and he did not let them record it because it hadn't been released yet. So since it's now been released, I'll make sure I get that asked. So, okay. Yeah, we'll get that going. All right. And he does a nice job. I've seen him do presentations before. I've seen him do presentations at Roots Tech. So he's pretty articulate and how he does it. He has had both versions running, so he can show you what it was before and what the change is. We'll have gone through most of that probably in July. There's some pieces of it that I can't demo for you because I don't have a tree vault tree. So there's some new features that are with the tree vault tree that I can't demo. So we can make sure that he covers all of that for those of you that are in that space as well. Okay, cool. So, so let's talk about reports. That's last time we were together, which was in April, we did charts. Now we're going to do reports. So in the publish workspace right up here at the top, we're going to go back through, and over here on the left panel, genealogy reports. So there's those two. And then there's some additional ones that we're going to cover as well. So the two that we have here is the Onatoffel report. Now, which is a, let's see, Onatoffel lets you pick someone to be the home person on the report, and they become person number 1. And then all of their ancestors backwards are numbered accordingly. So the challenge with an Onatoffel report is that whoever's the home person becomes number 1. So it's not like you've picked a numbering system that, you know, Sherry's always number 26. No matter how I print a report, I'm always 26. That's not an Onatoffel report. Now, a lot of people like those because if you're going to do a story or the background of a particular person, you can then show their relationship to all their ancestors. So that's what the Onatoffel report looks like. And I'm just going to run it here really quick so you can take a quick peek at that. You just double click on them, or you can click on highlight it, and it gives a narrative, and it includes everything I have set up in my tree. But you see that Ernest becomes generation 1, number 1. And then generation 2 is his father becomes 2 and his mother becomes 3. So you'll notice that there's no, and then their children are sub letters of their number. Okay. So here here's their kids. Frank is I, Ernest is I. You can see how the numbering goes there. And this number 1 there is because he's number 1 in the chart. So he's number 1, but he's also I in the children of his parents. Okay. And that's, and we're going to talk about, like in charts, you can add the amount of detail you want to any of the reports. So I'm going to go back to the collections piece here. And then the descendancy reports, which is a narrative reading. The tip I have with the descendancy report is include all the facts and then take out what you don't want. So let's talk about that a little bit. So you can see it's a narrative written, and it's including notes. So remember this little button here, items to include, is this first little option button. And you can see that I'm including name, birth, marriage, death. Very simple. But it includes preferred facts, but I'm including all the notes. And I'm going to turn the notes off. And I'm going to say okay. And I'm going to let it rerun so you can see I use Notesel for a lot of things, but in a particular descendancy report, I may not want all that information in there, particularly if some of it is private. So now it's just more of a typical descendancy chart. I took the notes out, and it's still a bit of a narrative. Generation 1 is Ernest, and he married Louisa, and then it lists the kids. And then generation 2 it lists each child and their marriages and their kids. So you can see how the descendancy chart can be really clean. And this is one that is easy to take to a reunion. You can go back as far as you want into your ancestry and pick that common ancestral couple and do the descendancy chart. And then you could print it, you could 3-hole punch it and put it in a binder so that every family could have a tab, right? Because you've got some other things that you can include it. So here you can say how many generations you want to do. You can have what the generation indicators are. I've got simple selected. You can see the primary. You've got some other options there. And you've got some numbering choices, which you can pick your way through. The register is sort of the default. That's what you're looking at here. Generation 1, each of the kids are listed, and then each of the kids are listed in the next generation, numbered from their number in the generation before. So as you go down through here, you can see generation 4, 3 continues. And then if I get down to generation 4, you can see what happens here. The next person is numbered, but it gives the kind of the breadcrumb. So Nicole is Patrick Williams' daughter, who is the son of Donna Jean, who is the son of Ernest, our #1 ancestor. So it gives you that path so that if everybody finds themselves, it's like, how am I related to, you get that a little bit there. And then you can see their children, their marriages and their children are listed as well. And that's because I only picked 4 generations. This is my grandfather, and these are all of my living cousins. So I probably should have picked somebody else. But you can see here that I can pick which pictures I want. If I have pictures attached to them in my Family Tree Maker, which I don't do, but if you do that, you can say, include the parent pictures, include the kids' pictures, use silhouettes. You can decide what size you want to make them from that particular. So if I say include parents' pictures and use silhouettes, because I don't have pictures in mine, it'll reconfigure the report. Yeah. Did you have a question, Linda? Okay, so we'll let that run. But you can see here, I can see list non-vital facts separately, so they wouldn't be listed with the people. You can include the relationship types. You can or not include them. You can show, I'm showing a generational divider, which makes it kind of easy. And adding pictures has frozen up my computer. Lovely. Okay, there we go. And you can see that's where the picture will go if you have it. Silhouettes are here, so you can see here's a man and here's a woman. So, and it's just the parents. I didn't include the children. So, but just play around with these reports. You can always add more stuff in or take stuff out when you're going through and picking the information that you want. So if I wanted, military service listed here, if that's a fact that I use on a regular basis, I could just say add the fact, and it's going to give me the fact list that I use. And now I've got too much stuff running. So I broke it. All right, so let's see what happens here. Okay, wait. So I could go through and add, if I wanted those military information. No, that's doing the backup. Too much clicking, I tell you. You can pick and choose the facts that you want. Now just realize that it's always going to be in this narrative format. So I'm going to cancel this. So it's not like you're going to get a list of facts, just fact. This is the presentation in this particular report. But you can add that additional information, because here you can see information that is told as part of a story that Family Tree Maker does for us automatically within this descendancy report. So don't hesitate to just, play with add this in. Maybe you want person notes, or maybe you want to include the fact notes or your research notes. Maybe you've got all the questions that you're going to ask at that reunion in your research notes. And so you want to include those so that someone comes along and answers the question, right? You can include private notes, you can include relationship notes. So depending on how you're using notes, we've gone over that. We've got so many note options. So however you're using notes, you want to decide if you want them included or excluded. You can see here that you can add sources. So if you get, if you're doing ancestral people, not living people, and people say, well, how do you know that's true? Then you could include your sources in the report. It will add pages if you're a good person who sources all their facts. That can turn into a lot more pages into your report. So just play around with it before, you can click it, you can see how many more pages it adds. You can see right here, I'm on page 1 of 9. Every time you click it and it refreshes the report, it will update that count for you. So you'll know, oh, by turning that on, I've added 25 more pages. Do I really need that information? And maybe you do. Maybe you want to have that with you rather than, like Stacy gave the example of taking her computer with her to the reunion, which most of us do that anyway. So you have to kind of decide, what do you want to lay out and present, or what you want to share, or do you have that one family that wants a copy of what you have for them? So you can pick and choose what you want to do. Now, you can see that one of the things here is I had picked my grandfather on purpose, but if I wanted to go back another generation, I don't have to get out of the reports. I can just use this little mini pedigree chart up here, or I can use the index list and find the person that I want to make the report for. So I can just do a search within my index and find them, and then make them the main person. So if I go up a generation, it just automatically moves him to the home person, and it recreates the report. I haven't saved it. I haven't printed it. I'm just playing around creating a report. The one I just ran, I've lost. But right now, this next one that's going to come up is built on all the settings that I had set for the last one. It's just I have a new home person. So here you can see this is the descendancy report for Frank Joseph. And you can see that his descendants, still 4 generations. So I lost the newest group, and it's 14 pages. So I went from 9 to 14 by just going back a generation, but still keeping it at 4. Okay. So just so, just know that they're not hard to play around with. They've got, like on the charts, we can change the fonts. If I don't like and I can do it by parts of the report. So you can see here, this header up here, this descendants of Frank Joseph, is Arial 14 black, and it's centered and it's bolded. So I can go through each of the different pieces. So this is the report headers, and it gives you a sample. So this is Arial 10. So I went from 14 up here down to 10. And here's my body is still 10, but it's not bolded. The bold check mark came off. And I don't have sources, and I'm not putting on footer information. And if I check the box here to include the preparer's information, it would be like this. So it's a little smaller. It's a 9, where my footer information is a 9, sources is a 10, body's a 10. So you can make this smaller number of pages if you change your font size a little bit. Now, depending on your audience, you might want to make them bigger. Sometimes 10 on a printed sheet is hard for people to read. So just know that you have all of that. And if you've got a color printer, you can make them whatever color you want. But it's by the section of the report. So it's not necessarily by generation. I mean, you can make a custom report and do some of that kind of stuff. But right now, it's items to format is just the way the report is auto-created. Okay. So that's the fonts. Cancel that. And then we have header footer information. So if I want to show it, I can turn it on. And I can turn on, and you can see show a report title on every page. So I could put descendants of Frank Joseph Katzer on the top of every page. Or I can add a footer that says, give me a page number and the print date and all of that good stuff. Which, you know, sometimes it's nice to have that when you pick that up later and you go, ooh, when did I create this? Was this before Sally got married? You know, that kind of stuff. You can see here the default is descendants of Frank Joseph Katzer. Over here, I can change that header to whatever I want it to be. I could say Frank Joseph Katzer's descendants. I could make it, you know, a little maybe more friendly or however you want to name it. So it will auto create that for you, but you can modify it. As we go across here, this is the page setup. So this is its letter page. If I wanted to print it on legal paper, so reduce the number of pages, but make it legal, I could change it to legal. I could make it landscape. I could change my margin sizes. So just like anything else you print out of Word or Google Docs, you have this control to set up the paper that you're using and the way it's going to come out. So that's this one here, page setup. The next one over is to save the report settings. And it says, are you sure you want to save this as the preferred settings for the descendant report? And I'm going to say no, because every time I go in, I want to have all of my options available to me. And I want to pick, include the notes, not include the notes every time, where if I make this the preferred, I have to be reminded to go in and change those settings, because this is what it will always look like. And you can use report settings. You could set this one to preferred or default. You can change that. And just remember that if you open up some of these dialog boxes, this little help here will pop up for the specific thing that you have open at the moment. So you don't have to overthink how to navigate through help, but right here, it will tell you what these things mean. So when you get two options, this is what it's going to tell you, how it's going to behave before you make a decision. So that's always nice to know. They always put that help right on whatever it is that you're using at the time. I'm going to say cancel. And then the save the report. So now the save the report is, you can name it whatever you want. You can see I've got a lot of saved reports here. I'm going to go ahead and add today's date. So I'm going to say 8 June 2025. Right there as part of the name of the report as I'm going to save it. I'm going to say save it. Now, where did it go? It didn't prompt me like, you know, save as does on Word. But if I go back to the collections list, right here at the bottom on this left panel are saved charts, saved reports, and saved books. So I go to save reports, and descendants of Frank Joseph as of today is right there. So you could save it and you don't have to print it. You could just make it, you could have it, you could create it if you're going to use it like a working report, or you want to print it later. You know, our lives are busy. Maybe your printer's not working. Maybe you need to buy paper. Maybe you need toner, you know, all the things that happen when we send stuff to the printer. So you just went ahead and saved it, and you can come back to it at any time. Now I can, if I decide, oh, I don't really want to save that one, I can right click right here on the report. I can open it. I can rename it. So if I didn't like what I named it, or I go, oh, it's the same name as that other one, which I have some of those, or I could delete it from right here. So I can just right click, delete the report. Okay. And you can see here, there's some information about this saved report. This report uses the descendant ordered format, starting with ancestor, moving forward in time. It supports the different methods. So it doesn't tell you in this little write-up which one it's using, and the name and the date and time it was created. So you can open it from open the report, or you can just click on it here and it'll open again, that kind of thing. So if I double click on it right here, I opened up the report. Now what it's doing, you've noticed down at the bottom, the green bar is working. And what it's doing is, from the last time I saved this, it's checking the tree to see if I've made any changes that would be appropriate to this report. So even though I named it today's date, it's now updated if I had made any changes to anybody in this report. So just know that if you save it, even you put a date on it, it's going to go through and update if you've done updates in your tree. So the date of the report isn't going to be quite exactly right. And so you can see that it didn't bring up the date. If I'm going to save it, it lets me put a different date on it or rename it something different now that it's reran the report. Okay. And this works on all of the reports this way. So save in the report. All right. Any questions about the ascendancy report or all right. We're going to jump down and we're going to walk through the person reports because these are also reports that you might want to look at. I've given you in the handout a little description of each of these reports and what they might be helpful for. I'm just going to open up the individual report. This is it sort of gives you that printout of everything you have on this person. So you can see that my options are different. Every report, like all the charts, have a unique option for how it's going to be, what's included and what's formatted. So you can see here, I've got checked, the default is use chronological order of the facts, show an individual thumbnail. I'm going to turn that off. And show blended families. So if you had blended families, you could turn that on so it would show all the wives and all the children, I think, individual facts. Shared facts. So if it was a blended family, it would show both marriages. You can see it includes my notes. It includes a little bit of information about his parents. Show individual summary on every page. So it gives me this part up here. That's the individual summary. This is the individual summary section. And that checkbox says put it on every page. So when I come down here, I know whose information I'm looking at. I'm looking at Frank's information. And then additional notes. Now up here in the items to include, you can include the facts that are there. Right now it's including only the preferred facts and it's including notes. So if I take the notes out and I say, okay, it's going to reformat it. And now I'm on a 1 page. So I have a 1 page summary of the information I have on Frankie and the tree. Now you'll notice you've got some information here that we don't typically see. We know we have a relationship ID number that is stored behind the scenes in Family Tree Maker, assigns that ID number, and it lists the children. So this is kind of a nice little working chart. If you want to just say, hey, help me figure out what I'm missing, you could use this individual report and print those out for a family or for a group of family or not. So let's look at the next report. That's the individual report. Custom report, I'm going to skip that for now because let's just go ahead and do it. Custom report. This is where you can decide. This is a custom report. Well, I'm highlighting Frank, so he's still my person of interest on this report. And it's creating the report data. And you notice that I've got the default is set to extended family. So this is a custom report for Frank. It's extended family in alphabetical order. And let's take a look here and see. We've got basic facts. We're including the notes. And here's the sort algorithm. So right now it's sort by first name first, and then birth date, birth and date. So that's the sort criteria. So I'm going to pull this over here and I'm going to say, let's sort by date, birth date, and then by death date. So if we had two people born on the same day, it will put the one who died first. So that's kind of weird. So. I believe that. I'm just going to say okay. So now it's going to reorder the report, still extended family, into birth order. Now, I can't give you a good example why this would be preferred, but I just want you to see that with the custom report, you can make it anything you want. Now, the fun thing while this is running is that you can see that I've made the date the primary sort. So now I've got the earliest birth date is Ferdinand Wenceslaus Katzer, and he was born in 1785. And you can see basic information about him, marriage and death, and I did remember I included person notes. So I've got more information here. But if you're going to make this a custom report, I wouldn't say custom report 4. I would say name it, whatever you're trying to get out of it, right? The other thing is if I change this to immediate family, it's going to be Frank, his parents, and his siblings, and his wife, I believe. Still got the same sort order, right? So now instead of being Ferdinand, it's Johann. So we've come down to his father and his mother because they're in birth order, which is kind of goofy. So let's go back and fix that. So I can say I'm going to make them in name order, and then I want to do it in birth order. And I'm going to say, okay. So it's going to take all these same people and just put it in a different presentation method, okay? But the nice thing about this custom report is, remember when we were doing filtering? You can create this for selected individuals. So you get the individual filter option here. And I could say, oh, I want to pick, I don't want Joseph. I want to pick Ernest. So I'm going to include him. And then I want all of his descendants. So I'm going to make whoops, it switched. So I'm going to undo that. Exclude all. So we're going to start over. I'm going to add Henry, include Henry. I'm going to go back to Ernest. I'm going to say all of his descendants of Ernest. And I'm going to say apply. So I've created a descendancy report for Ernest, right? But in this custom report format. So it's going to tell me, remember, it's in alphabetical order. So I've got 3 people that I don't know who they are.
Skincare industry before. Wrinkle creams end up being overpriced moisturizer.
And so the one thing I want to point out about this particular report is these are hyperlinks. So if I want to know who this person is, I can just click on that person. Let's see, it should take me. And I double click and it'll bring me up who this person is. And I can't, if I look at sources, so I don't know right off the bat who this person is, where she fits in, because I don't have any information about relationships here. So I'm going to cancel that. But if I click on Able, I can see, oh, okay, here's the information I have about Able in one particular spot. And because I know that he was born really early.
A computer password.
And you can see I've got some information. He died as a child, really young. But these are still now it's I created it as the immediate family. So you notice it didn't change the heading, even though I said selected people. So it still thinks I'm on Frank. So I'm going to I want to edit this. I'm going to say this is for Ernest. So I don't get confused. So this is how you would select the people, and you can sort them however you want to sort them here. And you can include the facts or not include your notes. You can change the order that they're in. Let's say okay, and that's going to rerun. So the nice thing about the custom report is you can include the information that you want. You can hand pick the people that you want to be in it. You can hand pick the presentation by how you set the sort on it. So there's a lot of things that you can do with the custom report that gives you some options that you might want to think about. Okay, how would I use this? So right now I would change this to say, I might say Ernest descendancy. It's not spelled right. No. So that I know when I open this up what this is going to look like, and I'm going to click out of that.
Sherry.
Yep.
Now, is there a way to make it, or maybe it's the way you have it set, but what if I want to sort it by surnames rather than first names?
So let's see what our options are. So right now, this minute, it doesn't look like that's an option.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, here we go. Name
Oh, there it
options.
is. Yeah.
And so now I can say the format is first and middle.
Okay.
I can say, I can change the format to last, first,
There.
middle. And if I say okay, and I'm going to say display last names in all caps, which is the way I normally have mine set up.
Okay.
And I can say okay, and I can say okay. So I've got more last names I'm missing, women, of course. But now I'm in surname order. Great question.
Okay, good.
And that might make more sense depending on what you're going to use this report for. It takes one of those, you just have to think through what you want and how do you get it. Do I have to use the custom report to get what I want? Or is there another report that gets me so close that I don't have to futz with it, right? So that's the custom report. If you want to get a report of all your notes, this one has, so I'm on Frank. I've got extended family noted. You notice my little icon up here that says, what do I include and what do I not include is gone. So now I'm only getting my options right here. So show private notes, shows person notes, show fact notes. I'm going to take research notes off. And I have 22 pages of just notes by person. So I get the person with their lifespan range, and then I just get a list of all of my notes. Okay. You can see my notes are formatted all kinds of wild and crazy ways. Okay. So that's the notes report. Every once in a while, it's like, do I have a note on that person? Well, rather than try to find that person, which, it's people, index, find the person, look at the notes. But you could come in here and just say, I just want to see the notes for Frank, include, apply. So now I'm just going to get, these are my Frank notes. So maybe you just want a list of just the notes for a person, or maybe just a family. So I've got Frank selected, and maybe I say his immediate family. So now I'm getting yeah. So I'm getting Frank is selected, and I'm getting his immediate family rather than just Frank, where I had one person selected. So that selection is still there. You see that selection is still there. If I want to go back to just Frank, I can just click that and it'll rebuild it. for Frank. So the tools are here to help us, but sometimes we forget it's so detailed and it has so many options that we forget to play around with it a little bit and know what's available. The task list, if you guys are creating tasks, you can create a report of your task list. And it says include tasks for, so it's, you know, who's this for? Task for, if I have it assigned to a person. Include task categories, so I've got my category. Include the creation date, include the task due date. And you notice I don't have include completed tasks. So right now I have 5 pages of tasks that I have assigned to myself for some reason that I need to go and check. So if you wanted to use tasks for, there isn't a way to sort this by category. If you want to do a sort by category, let me show you how you do that on the task list. You go back to plan. Here's the task tab. Here's the tasks. Here's all the information. Now I can just send this to the printer if I wanted to, right? So I can say print. And it gives me just the ones on this page. I can close this. Let's say I only want to filter out, show all uncompleted tasks, and I want to filter by task category. So I only want to see the research work. So I say, okay. Now I can print my tasks that are only assigned to the research category, and I'm only going to get those 4. Okay. So task gives you a lot of options. You don't have to necessarily use the task report that you've got everything in, but you can come in here and use filtering on this task list, and it will give you an option to print it or save it, particularly if you're wanting to do research in a particular location. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to say okay. And so if I were getting ready to do a research, which is what I did when I went to Salt Lake City, is I just created a category for Salt Lake City and went through and I added it to, let's see if I can show you this. Category. Oh, I even deleted it from here. But you could add a category, and you can have them in more than one category. So let's say this one's in birth records. I've got birth records and I want research work. I'm going to say okay. So now I've got birth records and I've got research work in my filter, but you'll notice that I have for Josiah and Emma, I've got them in both birth and death records. And here I've got family search docs. So that was what I used, is who are her parents. And I wanted to look for birth records and I wanted to look in family search docs. So you can see that you can slice and dice it however you want. I'm just going to clear the filter there. You should show me. I'm going to undo the categories. Clear. Okay. There we go. And you can see that down here I've used tasks to capture information that I want to have when I'm working in Family Tree Maker, but I just called it reference. And here's my little write-up on how to calculate the Quaker calendar, because I have Quaker records, and you know, they say it's the 17th of the 5th month. Well, the 5th month isn't May on the Quaker calendar. So I always have to come in here and look at my chart and say, okay, so what is the 5th month is actually July. Okay. And that's why I added that as a task. I made it a low priority, so they're already sorted down here under low priority. And I've just assigned them something generic. So it's not assigned to a person. This is a task for. See, all these tasks are assigned to a person. So mini class on tasks. And I could use I don't have the same controls over here on the task list, but I can get all of my tasks out, but I don't have a sort, I don't have anything. It just prints me a list. And you notice that it doesn't let me exclude by priority. I should make these that are reference completed so they don't show up. So there you go. Do as I say, not as I do. So that's the task list report. Okay, data errors, you can run this. I suggest you run this. There are some pluses and minuses to running this. It will let you know when you've got potential mothers too young to be the mother of a child you've attached. You can sort through. You can see here that it is include only preferred facts. You can say how many people you want to include. And you can see that right now I've got included every error message possible. So I'm gonna cancel this report because I'm gonna cancel this, and I'm gonna cancel that. And I'm gonna go up here and take some time and look at what you might want to include. So if you want to exclude all, and then you say, I want to look for errors that are related to, maybe I want to find all of the people that I don't have a marriage date. Okay, so that's all I'm looking for. All the people in my tree that are missing a marriage date, where I have a couple. So we'll let that run a little bit. And it's just extended family from Joseph. So probably should have picked me. I'm not looking at everybody. We'll let that run for a little bit. So this is a good report. Some of the things that are in there that you might want to look at on a regular basis is, just do like I did. Just pick one or two errors, because otherwise because it chunks through every single person in your tree and every single fact to see if it tests up against that, whatever it's looking for. So here I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people that have a spouse that is missing a marriage date. That's pretty good. And some of these are cousins that I don't know about. This is my 4th great grandfather. And I don't know his marriage date. But you'll notice if you hover here, this is an interactive report. So I can just click on him. Double click. And it will open up this little box here and tell me I don't have it says I have a relationship with Anna and Max. So right here is the couple, Fabian and Anna, but I don't have a marriage date for them. So when I fix that marriage date, 2 of those rows will come on because neither one of them have a marriage date. So this can help you keep your tree really clean, or maybe it gives you the next set of work research that you want to do is maybe if those are 10 people, that's 5 couples. Maybe I want to go try to chase down their marriage dates. And you'll notice I'm all over the place on I have some birthdays. I have some I don't have birthdays on. So you kind of get a sense of where are you at in the list. So this would you can use this as a way to make a to-do list of, okay, I'm just going to clean up my marriage dates, or I'm going to clean up my birthplaces, or, just take some time and look at this list, birth date. These are event activities. So marriage date after death date. Okay, I've done that. I've probably fat fingered a date, either date, the death date or the marriage date. Birth date before father was 13, birth date before the mother was 13. Burial date is before the death date. The event date is not valid. So this is maybe you typed words in a date field and didn't notice it. So those could be when it says that the date is not valid or the event contains no data. You've added a fact, but you didn't put anything in it. So maybe you want to go clean some of that stuff up. So this is a really good report to run periodically. And then clear that off and say, okay, so. And I didn't pick anything and it refreshed the report. And remember, this is going to be for the selected person and however many people you pick. So again, if you want just one or two people, maybe you've got a couple that you want to work through and you want to fix all the errors for a couple or for a family, pick that one of those people, go into individuals, pick the people that you want, and then make a decision on them, okay? All right, timeline report. These are kind of fun. If you're wanting to know how much information you have, include the icons, include the facts, so you can see, include family events, include spouses, birth, and siblings facts. So this is really, you know, just siblings and spouses information. If you don't like the icons, you can turn them off. Exclude the icons. So you might have a year, an event, and a place. And you can add in, remember, Family Tree Maker has a historical events table that if you want to add in, you know, was this person alive during World War I? You could put historical events into for Joseph's timeline. So this is for Joseph's lifespan is what this is. So you can see what he lived through. Siblings that were born, siblings that died, birth of children, and then his own death and burial. So this kind of gives you that timeline for a person. You select them as you want, and then you can include what you want to include or not include. And if you've got some custom facts that you always want to include, you can check and add them in as well. So you can do it that way. So the time, you know, my suggestion is just make sure you go through all of these reports, play around with them. Surname report will give you totals of surnames for an individual's list of individuals in your trees. I'm just going to do this one really quick. So you just get a list of the surnames, earliest, most recent, count male or female. You can see my catsers are the big number there. Again, this is the extended family for Frank. So if I wanted to say all individuals, I'm just going to go ahead and click that. It'll run this for my whole tree. Okay. So this gives you all of the surnames that are in my tree. And unfortunately, I have 78 that are, look, my spaces aren't the same length. So it treated them as, my underscores aren't the same length. So it treated them uniquely. So I have to go find them and figure out what have I done wrong. But you can see here that it gives you that kind of information as when did that family name come into the family and when was the most recent use. I've got one person with the Brock surname, a female, and 1 year. Which makes me think she never, well, she might have married somebody else, but you can see I've got 23 pages of unique surnames in my tree. So kind of fun. And the same with the list of individuals report. It's going to be based on, there's 5 different report formats, the individuals in your tree, the individuals with ID numbers, if you're interested in the ID numbers that Family Tree Maker assigns. There's an anniversary list, there's a birthday list, and there's a contact list. So that's, you have an option right here to say which one do you want. Report options, extended family. And it's in this drop down here, list type. So if I want an anniversary list, I'm getting Frank Joseph's extended family, and I'm getting a list of the birthdays. Or you can pick the list of the contact information if you're using Family Tree Maker with contact information, or a birthday list. So here's the same for the birthday list. And it's including all the spouses. So there you go. All right, so that's the persons list. We're gonna run out of time. Let's keep going. Relationship reports. This one is kind of my favorite. No, this one's not. This one is their vision of a family group sheet, husband, wife, children. It will include pictures. You can turn them on or off. So you've got, again, what do you want to include? Person notes, makes it really long. If you take the notes off, you can say, I'm gonna leave the relationship. Say, okay. So it becomes very super, super clean if you take your notes out. Because if in your notes, you've got your stories of when they immigrated and who they met and all of that kind of stuff. But you can see here with the family group sheet, you get a father and a mother for each of the main couple and their children. Okay. And you can say use silhouettes or not. You can put them in chronological order. You have other spouses, you can mark that, put both spouses on this family group sheet if you want to, which would then show blended families, which Frank doesn't have any. So that's the family group sheet. The kinship report is similar. It gives you the relationship of everybody to the named selected person. So if you've got a niece or a nephew that wants to know how they're related to all these people, you can pick them and then run the kinship report, and they'll figure out how they're related to everybody. Because it will go through husband of granddaughter, grandson, niece, nephew, grandson, wife of nephew. So that gives you that information of how they're related to Frank. Okay. And you can again say, do you want the extended family? Do you want everybody? Or you just want to pick, you've got that one family line that everybody wants to know. So that's kind of, you have to kind of think through that. Same with the marriage report. The parentage report will tell you, who's for Frank, all of the people that are in what their relationship is to the person that is related, extended family to Frank, and their parents, and then their relationship, parentage report. So you've got some step, you've got some adopted, you've got however you're using that relationship field. If you're not using that, then this report isn't going to give you anything but biological, because that's the default. An outline descendancy report, we've seen that before. The other descendancy report, the main one, this one is more of an outline design. You can pick and choose again what information you want to include. How many generations do you want to include, starting with whatever number you want to start with. If you want to make Frank 10, you can make him 10. You can, how many characters do you want the indent to be? So if I want to say, let's make it 5, it's going to bring those indents further in to make it more inclusive. And then I've got check to include the generation number. So Frank is number 1, his kids are number 2, his kids are number 3, their kids are number 4. So you've got generation number descendancy list from Frank. This is often the report people are looking for when they're looking at the other one. And it's not, I think this is a much cleaner one from that perspective. And then the same with going the other direction, an ancestor report. So if I do this now and I pick Frank, I'm only going back through his ancestors. It's not going to go very far because I don't have much back from Frank. So you can see Frank is 1, his dad is 2, his grandfather is 3, and his great-grandfather is 4. But it's his grandmother's father. It's not the Katzer line. You see that? So I've got more on his grandmother's line than I do on the Katzer line. And you can see right here, I don't have much on Frank's wife's line, or Frank's father's line. This is his grandmother. This is his mother. So when you do an ancestry report, it kind of flips your brain around to the other direction. And then this is the report I really like, the Family View report. It's similar to the family group sheet, but it gives you the pedigree chart. So you can see right away, one, what you're missing, but you get the kids, you get him and his wife, you get their marriage information, you get the kids. This is a snapshot of the people page, if you look at it. So if I go to people view, I see this pedigree chart, I see this couple, I get the marriage date, and I get the kids' information in that report. So this is one I like to use a lot because it gives you that perspective of relationships of this couple to their ancestors and to the kids. So I've used this a lot to help explain family relationships because it's really easy. Okay. Place
that report
reports.
a lot. I use that report a lot in books too. So when I'm writing, it's a good way to let people know where they're at in the family.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really clean. This is your places usage report. I'm not going to spend any time there. Just how many times does a place show up? Well, I guess I'm going to show you that. Again, this is places for Frank and the extended family. So I've narrowed the places to just that group. I should have said immediate. So it's by place, you get a name and the fact type that is identified with that place. Okay. So this is one I use quite a bit just because it's an easy way to say, who do I have at Alice Cemetery? I have that as a place I use. I'm using cemeteries as a place. And think about your fact. Your fact has a date, a description, and a place. And that's where this report is coming from, is that place field within the fact. So whatever you're putting in that field. So here I've got a marriage with a date. So it's kind of fun to be able to say, how many people do I have that are at this location or in this area? You don't have any control over, it's all based on how you've entered the fact, as opposed to in the places space where you can say, oh, I spelled that one wrong, and so it's not the same. And you can see it here. You can say, oh, I probably need to go fix that. So that's the places report. You can trigger this when you're in the places tab and you're on a page. You could say there's a usage report within that. Media reports. This, I don't have a lot of items. So this is a media item. This is if I've created a photo album. And you can see here it describes which types of pictures, and then a media usage report. So if you're using an image of the 1860 federal census for a specific state, county, township in multiple places, that would show up in your media usage report. Photo albums, you can set them up as a personal photo album. You can see here relationship album or a combined album. So it gives you the person and the relationship and then whatever pictures you've assigned to either one of them. Okay. And I don't put a lot of photos in Family Tree Maker. So this isn't probably a good example. If I go down to my grandpa, he has a few more pictures. And you can see 4 photos per row. So it gets you that sense of, oh, do I have that picture for him? You can come into the photo album and look for it. And then the media usage report will just give you exactly what you think it is. It gives you the name of the file, a little brief image of it, and where it's stored, so what it is. And you can see here, this says this item is not linked to people, facts, or sources. Where this one, the 1900 census, says it's the source citation is from Ancestry And I don't have it. It doesn't tell me what it's linked to. Does it? Nope, it's not a hyperlink. And you can see that for this item, I have several source citations. Make sure it look all of you the same. And that's probably early days of syncing files with Ancestry. Every time it brought the file over, it created another source record, and I just haven't gone in and cleaned them up. So here's an individual fact. This is an obituary image. It's attached to Clarence's death record. So it gives you some of that information of how you've been using your media. If you're just getting started with your putting media in Family Tree Maker, this would be a good way to keep track of it. I probably will use that report to go in and clean up some of my duplicates. Source reports, they can get really long. The one I think is interesting is you can create a bibliography. I'm on Ernst, so whichever sources, I probably don't have much for. How many sources do I have for him? What does the bibliography for Ernst look like? Documented facts. Here's the one I tend to need to work on is undocumented facts. And this is extended family. So if I wanted to, I could go in and say, do I have any undocumented facts just for Ernest? And I don't have any. So you could walk your way through your tree and say, do I have any facts that aren't documented? As opposed to opening everybody up and looking at all your facts one at a time and see if you have sources attached. So kind of whichever way you want to do it. And there's just some other fun things that are in here. You can create a calendar for your family. This is the one I have created. And in the type calendar options, it has a little different icon. It will always start with the current month, but you can change it. You can say, how many months do I want? I make birthdays blue, include the age on the birthday, and marriages are pink, include the years since the marriage, and death, I make gray and years since the death. So here you can see Noble Katzer has been gone for 57 years. Here, Lila and Bill were married 65 years ago. Jody Brown is 64 this year. And Chris Brown is going to be 63. Now, what this doesn't tell you is if they've already been deceased. It's just saying on this day was their birthday, and this year they would have been. So you don't have necessarily. So here you can say exclude the marriage anniversaries if the status is reported as deceased. Include births and marriages only if still living. So you have that option to, yes, include them or not include them. So, and here you can say use married names for female births, use married names for female marriages, just because that's what you're calling them today. So this is today's calendar. I just leave that checked that way. But you can make them whatever color you want. So you've got the whole palette of colors. So it kind of makes it kind of fun. Okay. And if I scroll down, there's July, there's August, there's September. And so if you wanted to keep a, family tree, and then you can pick who you want to have included. So if you pick yourself and you want to go back 2 generations, or maybe you want to pick your mother and all of her descendants, you can do that through the filter option. And then the last one we have is the Smart Story, and you can create it, stuff to be displayed. It's pretty much insert whatever you want. You can insert an image from a file. So I can go to my folders. This comes to my computer, not to my Family Tree Maker. You can decide what kind of report you're doing, personal bibliography, notes, facts, fact sources. So here I clicked fact sources. I'm highlighting Ernest. I get this kind of information here, and it says insert or drag citations into your document. So I could insert it. Okay. So there I inserted it, and I think I inserted it again. All right, so I can pick records I want to include. I can pick a timeline if I want to include a timeline. I haven't played with this in a really long time. Oh. So I'm not good to be able to show you how to use this. Okay. But you can see as you go down through the facts, the citations change. So you can decide to insert a particular fact or not. All right. And I'll be the first to tell you, I don't play in this space very much. It will auto create it. So maybe we need a separate session. And you can see here some more information about how to create the report. Oh, let's just see, create the report. Smart text. I must not have enough information from my grandfather. I don't have a lot, so.
Sherry, I think you
Yeah.
need to change it from the fact source to a biography.
Okay, let's try that.
And then I get an icon that says create. Personal biography.
Oh.
Mine is right below. Oh, yeah, there's your in your insert right next to it.
There we go. And then you can save it. You can say include tree vault historical weather, which I don't subscribe to, so I can't do that. I can pick and choose. I can say, I can save this as a smart story, save as text item report in my publisher section, or save as a media file in my media collection. Smart, I'm just going to say save. So then when I go back over here, books, reports, smart story, items for Ernest. So there he is. Thanks. I just hadn't played with that one recently. Okay, so we've kind of demoed the selecting the reports and going through all the options, and the only thing we haven't demoed is printing. So let's pick Frank's report from today. And again, the icons are, it's going to regenerate it. Remember, every time you save a report, it's going to regenerate it. Overthinking it. All right. So if I print it, I can hit print. And I get a little pop-up. Where do I want to print it? I can save it as a PDF, or I can send it to one of my printers. My default here is save as, and then if you print it to a PDF, it's going to come up and say, where do you want me to save this report? Right? And so it creates it as a print. But now it's going to say, where do you want it printed? And the last time I shared one over here is I printed it to my family surname page. So I'm going to cancel that. As opposed to share. And I'm going to see if I can get this. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this so you guys can see where share shows up, because it pops off there. So you can send it as a PDF, you can send it as a CVS, you can send it as all these, or you can export it as all those file types. So it kind of depends on what you're wanting to do with it and what file format you want. Any questions about reports? We're over a little bit of time, but I wanted to make sure we got through them. Let's see, stop sharing. I can see you guys. I can't see you when I'm when I'm sharing.
Sherry,
Yes.
I've used the relationship charts to show somebody how they're related to somebody else
Mm-hmm.
quite a few times.
Relationship charts. So did we talk about this? Collection. Let me look at this here really quick. So the one we didn't, that isn't in this list, let me reshare this because I want to make sure you guys are aware of this. The other one that's kind of, I find really helpful, which isn't in this list, which I kind of forgot it wasn't here, is this bigger. Here we go. When you go to tools and you use the relationship calculator, this one lets you compare two people in your tree. And I just recently created these for my niece because she was trying to figure out how was she related to Renee. And so here it
Not
gives me
seeing your-
this.
We're not seeing that, Sherry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we're not seeing your screen yet, Sharon.
Oh.
It says you started sharing it, but
Okay,
it's
so
not.
let me do a stop share because Zoom thinks I'm sharing. All right, so are you seeing?
There we go.
Okay, so
That's
we've
good.
caught up. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to do tools, relationship calculator. You guys seeing this pop up?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so this is, you can select someone in your tree and then you can pick how you're related to them. So here I've got what's my relationship to my grandfather, right? I can switch it and I can make it his relationship to me. So I'm his granddaughter. But I can switch it. Let me switch it back and let's just pick. Let's pick. Oh, here we go. You guys will be curious about this. Benjamin, Dr. Benjamin Franklin. So Ben Franklin is my first cousin 10 times removed, and this is the path, which can get kind of cumbersome. You can see I only have one relationship path to him, but if I view the relationship chart, this is one I really like because it tells your person, Benjamin Franklin is the 10th cousin, first cousin 10th removed from me. And it shows our common grandparent, shows me how I'm related. So this is our, my 10th great grandparent, right? And that's his great grandparents. That's his grandparents, right? So here's Ben Franklin. This is his parents. This is his grandparents. And I'm clear down here because our common ancestor is my 10th great grandparents, right? So this shows all the generations to me. And I love this chart. And so you can print it as print it out or do it as a PDF or whatever you want. But this is one I use a lot. And I don't know why this particular, well, it's relative to the tool. But it makes it really easy. If I close that, then I can change this around. So let me pick someone else because I want. This is my Mayflower ancestor. And you notice I have two paths to him. I'm first cousin 10th removed, same as Ben Franklin. And the other one is 10th cousin 10 times removed. But the difference is it's really subtle. I'm descendant through his daughter Desiree this way, and I'm descendant from his daughter Hope this way. So I'm descended from two of his daughters. And so I can print that out. I can get that chart for one or the other, so I can pick which one I want. And if I want to switch it, I can make it, we're still first cousins with 10 times removed. So it just kind of depends on how you want your report to look, if you want to use this view relationship chart part. So. There you go. So that's one I use a lot. And I don't know why this particular relationship chart, it's tied to this calculator, and so you don't see it in the reports. But this is one I use a lot with, especially with nieces and nephews, trying to say, okay, this is how you're related to, our great Aunt Jane, or it's more likely cousins. How are you related to this cousin? Right.
And Sherry,
Yeah.
you're doing all this through the family group sheet.
No, I'm doing all of that through the tools
Okay.
relationship calculator. So it's with the relationship calculator. You can put the two people together here, and then you can pick the relationship you want to display and then click this view chart.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. So that's the one report that I forgot to add to the bonus report. Okay, stop sharing. Any other questions or comments? I find we have a really nice suite of reports that come with Family Tree Maker. It takes a little bit of practice to navigate, to remember that little ... icon is the what do you want to include and not include. And then take your time and be deliberate to read through the stuff under the panel. How many generations do you want to include? How many people do you want to include? Do you want pictures, not picture? All of those options, because it gives your report a different look and feel, but it can significantly save you paper if you don't want to include, in my case, 3,860 people in my tree. So, okay, no questions or comments. Next month, I will endeavor to make sure I have 2024 installed. Here's my wish is when I click on places in my 2019, I don't know where that came from. In my 2019, I've lost my maps function. So I'm hoping in 2024, maps is back and we can go back and catch up on that module, because I didn't do it. I skipped it. Oh, right. And I'll keep you guys posted on what I hear back from Mark on when he's available. And then just a quick reminder for those of you that weren't in Ancestry, that this week is the jewelry sale down at the library. We have had some fabulous donations this year. We had a couple of estates that donated their material. We've already taken some items to sell as gold, because gold is really, really expensive. I think we're already at, well, I know one check was for $3,600 and another check was for like $2,500. So we've already collected a fair amount of revenue from just selling for gold. So, and then if you're a member, there's early access on Wednesday. We have had two. Is it two, Florence, or one? One I know of for sure, but I thought I heard somebody say there was another one. Someone who buys and sells jewelry came and became a member so they could get early access. They don't want to learn about genealogy.
Unreal.
They just wanted early access to the sale. So, hey, it's a fundraiser. We'll take it.
What's the time on Wednesday?
I think it's regular office hours, so that'd be 10
Okay.
to
Yeah,
4.
10 to 4.
Oh, I guess yeah, it's regular office hours. It's been a really, it takes a lot of work to sort the jewelry, price the jewelry, get it laid out, in presentable, manner so that you can pick and choose what you want. And they take some items, especially costume jewelry, and just this bucket is, these are $1 and these are 50 cents. But still, if that's your thing,
Well, but that's a great fundraiser. I mean, it's proven itself, hasn't it?
yes, it has.
Yeah,
Yes,
better
it has.
than, probably better than getting all kinds of garage sale stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
more garage sale.
Yeah. No more garage sales. And I think we've even given up on doing just a book sale.
Yeah. Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, it's too bad that we have to do that kind of stuff to raise the money. So, yeah.
Well, but it's kind of fun. I mean,
But yet it brings people in.
it does bring
Yeah.
people in.
People come for the jewelry, and then you find out, oh, you're related to me, or you go down that rabbit trail, and then pretty soon you get them hooked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
that's good. Good. So,
All
Well,
right. Well, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Thanks a lot, Sherry.
be
Oh,
thinking
you're
about
welcome.
Oklahoma. We're expecting 100-mile-an-hour winds this
Oh
evening.
my.
So
But not tornado, just wind.
just
Straight line.
strong straight line winds.
And those can be almost as devastating.
Yeah. I always think, there goes my roof.
Yeah. Speaking of roofs, there was a story I heard there was one of the Florida hurricanes, and it's been many years ago now. And this little town had a neighborhood that the houses had been built by Habitat for Humanity. And none of them lost their roofs because they weren't builders, they were volunteers. And so they put more nails. They had to come in with like building engineers to figure out why did these houses survive and the ones next to them did not. And it was because it was all volunteer.
Yeah. That's neat. That's interesting. So,
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
yeah. All right. See you next time.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks, Sherry.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sharon.
Did you turn off the recording?
Oh, I did not.